And welcome to Friday Night Football right here at Todd Stadium in Newport News. Eastern Regional style. Tonight's matchup is the Hampton Crabbers versus the home Heritage Hurricanes. And we're right now live in Channel 47 in Newport News, as well as Channel 46 in Hampton for a simulcast broadcast. I'm Greg Bicaveras, along with Nate Milton. And Nate, what a great matchup we have tonight. A rematch of a game that was played back on September 30th, right here in the same field. Heritage beat Hampton 60-7. Right now the stakes are a lot higher.
Exactly, Greg. Exactly. Not only a rematch of last September's game, but also the game that Heritage lost 44-0 exactly 1 year ago. And the stakes, as you mentioned, Greg, are extremely high. The winner gets to go on to Richmond in the state finals and the state playoffs, but the loser, they have a whole another year to think about what they could have done and should have done tonight.
And that early game doesn't matter now, does it, Nate?
Exactly.
Hampton will be kicking off in the white and red uniforms. Heritage will receive the ball in the maroon and gray. Packed house here at Todd Stadium, Newport News. Glad you're with us for this historic live broadcast right here on Channel 47 Newport News and Channel 46 in Hampton. We're about underway for kickoff, 12-minute quarters. Here we go. Nice kick right there by Aaron Whitehead. And right there, Michael Johnson will take it, and Heritage will have it after 20. Nate, we talk about all season long will be the quarterback for Heritage. He's been under the microscope, Jason Cook. He threw for 1,074 yards this year.
Exactly. Jason Cook, he has been very inconsistent, but when he's been on, when he's been good, he has been one of the better quarterbacks in this district, and he's going to have to keep his head on the shoulders tonight against a tough Crabber defense for this team to come out with the victory.
His top target will be Larry Davis, number 7. Keep an eye on him, folks. Heritage going right to left. Jason Cook, the senior quarterback in the maroon and gray. And they're keeping him in the ground for the first play, just underway here at Todd Stadium. Hampton is visiting white uniforms. Nate will give us the starting lineups in just a moment. Not much running room right there, Nate, by Mike Johnson.
Absolutely. The key for Hampton, one of their keys to victory, is they have to keep Mike Johnson between the tackles. If you let Mike Johnson get outside the tackles and get that speed going to the outside, then he can take advantage of that and just use that blazing speed to get extra yardage and score touchdowns. You got to stop him because Johnson is a dangerous runner.
Hampton leads this series 4-2. Heritage with the football and keeping on the ground. The big addition for Hampton has been number 66, Elton Brown, who played for Heritage a year ago.
Exactly. Elton Brown back for the last couple of games in these regionals and for the Hampton Crabbers, playing against some of his old friends and teammates on the Heritage Hurricane side. We're interested to see what effect he has in the game tonight.
All right, 3rd down and 3. Just underway right here at Todd Stadium, Newport News for the Eastern Regional Finals between Hampton and Heritage. Heritage with the football. 10:50 left in the first quarter. Cook on the keeper. It'll be close. The referee is in tonight's ball game, James Orr. The umpire, James Duke. The linesman, Ben Word. First down, Heritage. Line judge is Mike Lowenberg. The back judge, Robert Smith. Field judge, Tim Russell. Clock operator, Howard Wiseman. Great pregame show by our great staff led by Paul Cummings, huh, Nate?
Absolutely, as they always do a fabulous job, and we got a fabulous game to go along with it tonight.
Absolutely. Couldn't ask for a better crowd, live TV. Glad you're with us in Newport News and Hampton. Big first down for Heritage, 10:33. Cook back to pass. Keep an eye on his passing. And it's complete to his top receiver, Daryl Blackstock. Taken right at the 49-yard line. Stopped by number 7, Carlos Campbell.
The tight end, Daryl Blackstock, is 6'5", 25-pound senior. Did a great job.
Take a look at it, Nate.
Right now, Jason Cook dropping back with an excellent, accurate pass right there. And then you see the big man using his speed to get around some guys and finally brought down by number 7 for the Hampton Crabbers, Carlos Campbell. Great job.
1st and 10 at the 50. Heritage keeper on the ground. Mike Johnson right there around the 49-yard line. Stopped on the play by the Crabbers. Number 66, Elton Brown. Hampton's head coach, Mike Smith. His assistant, Danny Mitchell. Also, Alice Mann, Lanny Franklin, Tony Carlson, Kenneth Gilliam, Shannon Smith, Brian Gerzak, Daryl Fenner, Terry Van, Ray Barnes, Donald Sullivan. Athletic trainer is Mr. Hatcher. Cheerleader coach, Kim Saunders. Band director, Rick Allison. 2nd and 8 for Heritage in Hampton territory. First drive of the game. Penalty flags all over the place. Nate, how about that starting lineup for Hampton?
All right, we'll start off with the offense for the home Heritage Hurricanes. We have Corey Rouser, Larry Davis, Jason Cook, the quarterback, Maximilian Barnhart, Maurice Carley, Sean Atwood, Stephen Hines, and Caesar Watkins make up that big line. And then, of course, Daryl Blackstock and Larry Davis, the big receivers right there.
Penalty flag on Heritage brings up second right now in 13, 9:34 left. Nate, you can't afford penalties. And right now we'll see what happens and see how Heritage overcomes their first flag of the ball game. How about that Hampton defense, Nate?
All right, since we have time, Greg, now I'll give you the Hampton defensive starters. We have Derek Finner, James F. Williams Jr., of course, Carlos Campbell, Joe Smith, Nolan Cutter, Lawrence Callis, Mac Jones, Christopher Perry, Stephen Lee, Elton Brown, number 66, a big key to this game, Stephen Williams, and that is your Hampton Crabbers defense right there.
Great job, Nate. Glad you're with us for our 6th live telecast of the year, the 2000 year in Newport News and Hampton. Channel 47 staff producing the historic sporting event, also shown in Hampton. There's Jason Cook, back to pass across the middle, and it's complete to Wayne Reynolds, and Reynolds makes a big catch. Nate, what a huge catch by the senior.
That was a crucial catch by Wayne Reynolds, the 6'2", 175-pound senior, but a great job by Jason Cook.
We'll take a look at it again momentarily. What a great catch.
Well, Jason Cook takes advantage of his court vision, if you will, and surveys the field and finds a wide open number 14, Wayne Reynolds. Reynolds does a great job to make the catch and bring it back in.
Hampton leads the series 4-2. Smith leads the series over Quillen personally 3-2. Talk about those weapons. Opening drive. There's Mike Johnson on the outside, and he gets across to about the 25-yard line. And Nate, we talk about so many different weapons. Heritage has got so many weapons. It's like an arsenal, like playing bow and arrows for Heritage.
And the most dangerous of those weapons is Michael Johnson. Led the Peninsula District in rushing yardage. Led the Peninsula District with touchdowns with 27. Led them in yards per game. He averaged 143 yards per game on the ground. Mike Johnson is a dangerous, dangerous runner.
All right, we're in the first quarter, 8:15 left. No score, 2nd and 3. Heritage with the football in the maroon uniforms. And there's one of their big fullbacks right there, Corey Rouser. Nate, so many weapons. The breakdown is just unbelievable for this Heritage team.
Well, Heritage can beat you in a number of ways. We've seen already Daryl Blackstock can be a definite weapon coming from that tight end slot. But also in the backfield, besides Jay Cook, who can also go out on the option, you have Michael Johnson, of course. But Corey Rouser is a great fullback and also a change of pace running back who can bang in and get some extra yards the tough way.
Heritage defeated Norcom last week 26-14, while Hampton got by Lake Taylor 28-12. Both teams struggled throughout that game. Hurricanes keeping on the ground. Not much running room there. As coming off the field right there is Corey Rouser. Instant replay coming up.
Right there, you're going to see it. The big man, Corey Rouser, you bring him in to struggle for yards, to change your pace back, and Hampton did a very good job of getting up on him, but Rouser was able to struggle for a couple yards.
That opening drive, so important, folks. Keep your eye on that. Huge college-like crowd here tonight at Todd Stadium. 1st and 10. Heritage just chunking it away. Cook, he's got time, throws it. It's complete to Larry Davis. Nice tackle, however, by number 11 for Hampton, Joseph Smith.
That was a good job by Smith because if he doesn't make that tackle, Larry Davis scores the touchdown.
Nate, I'm really impressed by Cook's opening start.
That's right. Cook has looked very steady so far. Right now what we're going to see is just a little flag play to the outside. Comes back in. Good job by Larry Davis coming back in to help his quarterback out. Makes a nice catch.
And he had time to think. And that was the key. He had time to throw the ball. And right now, impressive opening drive for the Hurricanes. 2nd and 3, 6:40 left. Option. And outside right there goes the Heritage Hurricanes. Nice stop on the play by number 32, Lawrence Callis, as Michael Johnson goes out of bounds.
Well, one of the things Heritage wants to do, Greg, is get Johnson involved early. He was kind of stifled for the first half of the IC Norcom game. It really didn't get on track till the very end of the game. So they want to get Mike Johnson early and work his reps often.
This is Channel 47. We talked about the history of our 38th football game. We've been going live since 1995. John Quillen's Heritage Hurricanes 11-0, 21-2 since last year. Johnson up the middle, touchdown Heritage at the 6:31 mark. Heritage scores the first 6.
This crowd is going wild here, Greg. That was a hole you could have driven a Mack truck through. I cannot believe it. Michael Johnson, we talk so much about him getting to the outside, keeping him in the tackles is the way to beat him. Mike Johnson right there with the big assist. The fullback and the offensive line was able to find a hole and go in basically untouched.
Nate, here where the weak point comes, if Heritage has any weak points, is the special teams as far as the kicker, Ian Harris. Was a little erratic last week against Norcom. We'll see what he does this kick. The kick is up, and it's good. He makes it good. So, after 6:31, it is Heritage 7, Hampton nothing. Replay coming up.
The Hurricanes drawing first blood here, Greg. And it's just a great job, a great opening drive. Right there, you see, in the trenches, that's where the play happened. Sean Atwood and the rest of those guys on that offensive line, they held their blocks, and they were able to pave a way for Michael Johnson to get to the end zone.
28 touchdown of the year from Michael Johnson, the junior, folks. He's explosive. Big college prospect right there. Michael Johnson is 5'11", 185-pound junior. Heritage, they had a pretty balanced team. No freshmen, 2 sophomores, 19 juniors, 20 seniors. So, very balanced team. Lose a lot of players. They lost a lot last year. Nobody even expected Heritage to be in this position when the year started.
Exactly. Think of the guys they lost. Foster Broadus, Kente Blunt. Without those guys, Heritages have had not only an undefeated regular season, but now a chance to go to the state playoffs.
Absolutely. 6:31 left. Heritage up 7-0. A lot like the last game they played against Hampton when they won 16-7. But now the Crabbers will get the ball. Very important for them to start back the same way. Ian Harris, the kick for Heritage, has his hand up to this packed Todd Stadium crowd. It's historic live broadcast from Channel 47 in Newport News and 46 in Hampton. Taking it back is the quarterback for Hampton, Carlos Campbell, across the 30, stopped in the play by number 25 for Heritage. That is Marcus Osborne. And they'll take care of the Hampton offense.
All right, for your Hampton Crabbers, when they get on the offensive side of the ball right now, you're going to see Derek Finner, Carlos Campbell, of course, the quarterback, Joe Smith, Mac Jones, Dale Tidwell, Christopher Perry, Elton Brown again on the offensive side of the ball, Stephen Williams, Vernon Goodwin, Jeffrey Kroom, and Scorpio Brown, the brother of Elton Brown.
Folks, keep your eye on number 66, the offensive lineman, Elton Brown, 6'6", 330-pound senior. He is a giant. And Hampton right there keeping it on the ground, Carlos Campbell, the quarterback, handing it off to number 11, and that was Joseph Smith. Hampton, when they've got the football, they like to run the multiple eye, while Heritage counters on that 4-4 defense. Hampton, the white uniforms, white and red, 24 years in a row. Mike Smith has made the regionals. He's been the head coach since 1971. 322, 42, and 2 in his career. He's 10-1 this year. Hampton is the only school Mike Smith has ever coached at. 56-14, folks, in the playoffs, 11 state championships, 3 runner-ups. But they're behind right now, behind the 8 ball, 7-0 with 5:35 in the first quarter. Campbell going deep, a trademark of Hampton over the years. Incomplete, intended for number 5, Jimmy Williams. Good coverage by Michael Johnson.
Exactly. Derek Finner was wide open on that play, but the defensive pressure of Heritage got in Carlos's face and was able to stop him from making that play. Campbell right now was surveying the field, and he knows that the play is scripted for number 2, Derek Finner. And right there, he was just leveled at the last possible moment, and nobody was even in the area of that play. A good job by the Heritage Hurricanes defense.
Good pressure by the Hurricanes defense. That's what they did a lot during that first game as well, Nate, that we televised. 5:33 left. Second down right there. Now it's 3rd and 9, so big play coming up for Mike Smith's Crabbers. And Campbell doing a lot on the quarterback run, and he gets halted quick. Nice defense right there by the Heritage Hurricanes. Bring up a 4th down situation. That play didn't work. We mentioned that looked like a lot of what Clemson has done with Woodrow Dantzler, but that didn't work that time against Heritage.
Exactly. The direct snap wasn't working right there. Good job by the Hurricanes defense. An unbelievable hit level right there. And, the guys in the 911 boys, Blackstock and Rudy Ford were in on that play, making that huge hit.
Heritage, once again, we mentioned 11-0 overall, 21-2 the last 2 years. Averaging 43 points a game on offense, giving up 5 on defense. Very stingy. There's the punt by Campbell. Michael Johnson will watch it roll with a good Hampton bounce. And Hampton wants to make some type of defensive turnover to get back in the game as Heritage will have the ball at the 20.
Very good Hampton bounce. I was looking before this game to see what kind of impact Elton Brown would have, not necessarily on the defensive side of the ball, but as far as a blocker on the offensive side, because Heritage's defense is so tough. Woodside didn't score against them. Kickerton didn't score against them. In fact, they only gave up a total of about 48 points for the entire regular season. So this is a very tough team to score on.
Absolutely, Nate. Only 4 teams out of the 11 have scored on Heritage all year long. They shut out Cox, Menchville, Denby, Phoebus, also Woodside and Kickerton. So that should tell you how impressive they are. Cook, back to pass. Throws it deep. A nice spiral. Complete to Wayne Reynolds. And Carlos Campbell makes the saving tackle. What a huge bomb by Jason Cook.
Oh.
If Cook was coming out, tonight would be the opportunity to come out.
Exactly. Jason Cook has come to make a statement tonight. That was an unbelievable pass, but also unbelievable concentration by number 14, Wayne Reynolds. Reynolds has already made 1 catch in the play in this game earlier on for a short yardage. But right now, again, look at the offensive line. Look at the time that they're giving him. Cook staying poised in the pocket, makes a great tight spiral, and right there, the concentration. And then not only that, he stays on his feet, and Carlos Campbell finally brings him down. But Heritage is making a statement right now.
Nate, he had to spin around like a gymnast to make the catch. Hurricanes keeping it on the ground. Mac Jones stopping right there. Number 1, Corey Rouser. If Jason Cook is going to come out, folks, tonight is the night. 4 minutes left in quarter number 1. The Hurricanes up 7-0 over the 5-time Eastern Region champ Hampton Crabbers. Heritage coming out right there with that veer offense. That sometimes can trick the wide tackle 6 of Hampton. Hampton's had that wide tackle 6 for years, for decades of Mike Smith. He is not going to change just because it's a playoff game. Obviously, he's 56-14 during the playoffs. 2nd and 6 right now for the Hurricanes. Johnson. Right there to the 5. Huge hole right there for the Hurricanes. And they keep on moving forward. Instant replay coming up.
Greg, we mentioned, Jason Cook making a statement. I think Mike Johnson is making a subtle statement tonight. Usually we talk about him running to the outside, but right now we're going to see Mike Johnson just doing a nice little move right there, off tackle, then cutting back inside. We hardly ever see Mike Johnson run inside, and he picked up a nice little yardage right there.
You mentioned Heritage shut out 6 of their 11 opponents in 2000. 6 of the 11. Hampton scored 7 points on them back on September 30th. That was their first 7 points they allowed in 5 games. Rouser skedaddling up the middle. It'll be inches away before pay dirt again. And right now, the Hurricanes looking to score and make it a bigger dent in the first quarter. Huge crowd on hand tonight, folks, and we mean huge. People are packed around the gates, and they even have special bleachers on both bottom sides of the end zone right there, facing near the Channel 47 staff office, near the fire station. All right, 2nd and 2, 2:30 left. Jason Cook, the quarterback, taking on the keeper, and Cook gets it. He gets 6. 13-zip. Hurricanes lead it with 2:22 left. Could this be Heritage's year? It's still early, Nate.
And I am very impressed with Jay Cook, the poise he has shown on these 2 opening drives. If he can keep it like this for the entire game, Hampton has their hands full. Right now we see it. Cook does a great job. The first initial contact was made by Carlos Campbell, the quarterback for the Crabbers, but Cook kept his feet under him and was able to power in for the score. Jason Cook is looking like a poised, seasoned quarterback tonight.
And the kick is up, and it is good. So all cylinders clicking early so far for the Hurricanes. They got there. Oil spoke to the wheels, Nate. They're rolling right along so far.
Exactly, but the thing that Heritage has to remember is that Hampton is a veteran team. Hampton is going to come back on you. It's something that you just have to take for granted. You can't, just because you scored these 2 touchdowns early, think that the night is over. Kind of like when the elections, when they called Florida early, it's not over by a long shot. So Heritage has to put on their work helmets, bring their lunch pails, because they've got another 3.5 quarters to play with this very tough, very physical Hampton Crabber team.
Crowd all bundled up with 2:22 left. And I think our good friends, you see Mike Smith right there, the head football coach in Hampton since '71. Domino's Pizza, our good friends as well. Smith right there, and Danny Mitchell, his top assistant. Smith right there has been the head coach since 1971. Domino's Pizza, 595-3030. Give them a call. All right, Ian Harris to kick it off for the Hurricanes. Heritage right now up 14-zip with 2:22 left. And Hampton will take it back. Carlos Campbell up the middle, and Campbell gets to about the 38. They need a big series right now, Nate.
Exactly. They need a big series right now. Carlos Campbell picking up good field position right there for the Crabbers. But then he was eventually brought down by number 45, Max Barnhart. Nice kick right there. There you see Campbell running up, gets some great blocking inside until finally he's brought down by the big man, Maximilian Barnhart, the 5'11", 200-pound junior right there.
Hampton with that multiple eye offense, averaging 31 points a game on offense, 6 on defense. By any standard, that'd be great. But for Hampton, this has been a dominating year like they've had in seasons past when they won 4 straight state championships. But how long can you keep that streak going? 4 straight state championships. Campbell the option right there to number 11 for the Crabbers. That is Joe Smith. Good stop by the Hurricanes. They're coming out to play tonight, Nate.
Great job right there by the Hurricanes. Landon Smith coming up, making a huge tackle. I think one of the things with Hampton this year is they're more of a team than they've been in the past. They don't have, the Ronald Curry, the Armando Currys, the Marcus Hagans, the big stars that they've had in years past. And so they're having to come together more as a team. Then you throw in an inexperienced quarterback in Carlos Campbell, and that's led to some of the problems we've seen this year with the Crabbers, but they're still a good team.
And they're both seniors. Campbell was a wide receiver last year for the Hampton Crabbers and Mike Smith. But he is the quarterback now in charge. Of course, Marcus Hagans was the 2-time quarterback in 98-99 for the Crabbers. Once again on the option, and nice run right there. Hampton's biggest play, but a nice trip by Raymond Stith as he stops number 11, Joseph Smith. Good run, though, by Smith.
Joe Smith with a nice run right there, and he was almost headed for pay dirt. Makes a couple nice cuts in here. Good job right there, but Raymond Stith held his ground long enough to trip him up at the feet right there.
All right.
It is going to be a first down for the Crabbers.
Yeah, 1st and 10 with 1:10 left in quarter number 1. If you're just joining us, Heritage leads it 14-0. Heritage got a touchdown run by Michael Johnson. And there you see the head coach, John Quillen, and also Jason Cook on the keeper. Quillen, of course, born in the Bayou in New Orleans. Son Javon Quillen, now James Madison, who played in the state championship game himself back in 1997 for Kickingham. And Mac Jones keeping it up the middle. Nate, one interesting thing, Mac Jones for Hampton, 2nd down and 8 right now coming up with 35 seconds. Last year for Hampton, Mac Jones had 1,055 yards rushing in 1999. This year, you fast forward, only 227 yards rushing. You're wondering if they should almost key him a little bit for that extra spark they might need.
Exactly. And
4-year starter, Nate.
A lot of that has to do with Joe Smith and some of the injuries they've had, as we see the nice shots right there from our tower cam. But, Mike Smith is a very smart coach, so I think he knows what he's doing with his personnel.
This game is far from being over. There's Smith on the option. Good defense right there, like a pack of wolves. The Hurricanes stop Smith right there, number 11, Daryl Blackstock.
Well, something to watch, Greg, is that Carlos Campbell is not having any time at all. Even on an option, he was just run down by number 9, Rudy Foy. Even on an option, Carlos Campbell is getting hit.
That ends the first quarter with the score. The Heritage Hurricanes in the Eastern Regional Final lead the Hampton Crabbers 14-0 in the instant replay. You see it right there.
Well, there you saw it right there. He was hit by Rudy Foy, but he was able to get the pass off to Joe Smith. But Joe Smith was met by a crowd of Hurricane defenders.
Now, this is a rematch of last year's Eastern Regional Final where Hampton won 44-0 at Darling Stadium. Different scenarios. You talk about the two catalysts. Jason Cook, the quarterback for Heritage, and of course for Hampton, Carlos Campbell. Both of them played different positions a year ago, and so far they've had about the similar type year. Key players around them.
Exactly. These two teams, you were mentioning earlier in the pregame as we see the Heritage players right there, how they were so similar, even off of the same road. But the personnel of these teams, the makeup of these teams is very similar as well. They both have a very tough, strict defense. They can score with quality backs, but the main difference is that Cook has seemed to come more into his own as the years progressed, and Campbell really has not had enough time to become the better quarterback.
Absolutely. Also, you see the crowd right there. Some guys talking on their cell phone, probably giving updates, but they're watching it live on Channel 47 in Newport News and Channel 46 in Hampton. Glad you're with us. Our great staff, Paul Cummings, Ray Price, Bill Barlow, Greg Swan, Dave Underwood, and all the great students you heard about during the pregame show. All part of this historic telecast right here on Channel 47. Second quarter underway, but Hampton has the ball in Heritage territory, 3rd and 3. Campbell trips and slips and does not get the first down. It's almost like the old huffing and puffing and blowing the chimney down. Heritage will find a way to make that stop.
Well, back in my football days, we called that making the quarterback hear footsteps. Nobody was around him. Foy and Blackstock, the 9-1-1 defense, was closing in on him, but he just tripped, and it was a bad break for Hampton. But Heritage's defense has just been so tough so far this game.
You talk about special players. MJ, you think of Michael Jordan. MJ, Michael Johnson for Heritage, one of the most powerful juniors I've seen since Rodney Howard in that instant replay who ran for Bethel back in '84.
Right there you see it. It's almost like a prize fighter taking a knee before getting a knockout punch delivered to him. Blackstock was coming in hard, and the trip right there by Carlos Campbell.
4th and 6, Campbell to punt. Decent roll, but Heritage will get it once again, and you just kind of wonder, Nate, Hampton needs some gas in that car to keep on moving.
Exactly.
They're running on empty right now. All right, let's go to an interview right now.
Reporting for Channel 47 here with Joe Ellis. He is a sports reporter for the Heritage Hurricanes. Tell us about your job and what it enlists.
Pretty much, I go to all the football games and basketball games and wrestling meets and all the other sporting events you could think of. I report to the student body how good we did. I butter it up pretty much. I get them hyped at pep rallies. I get them hyped on the daily announcements. I do that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
And how long have you been doing this for Heritage?
As long as I've had the position, I've had it since the beginning of the school year, but I've been doing it for, I don't know, about 2 years, somewhere around there.
Okay, well, thank you for taking the time to do an interview with me.
Thank you.
And back to you, Greg.
All right, Mark, thanks a lot. I know you're trying to stay warm down there. It's very cold outside tonight. Not quite like snow weather we had in January earlier this year, Nate, but it's still chilly as Sean Atwood, the center, leads the Heritage Hurricanes on a big 2nd and 5 right now. Hurricanes leading at 14-0 over the Hampton. That wide tackle 6 defense of Mike Smith. 3rd down situation coming up. Heritage keeping it on the ground.
Well, right there you see Heritage working the ball, working that ground offense, getting it going, working inside with Rouser, outside with Johnson. And, of course, you can't say enough about, so far in this game, Jason Cook looking like a very poised, very relaxed quarterback. If he can keep that up, Heritage, the car's in good hands, if you will.
Heritage loves to play on our airwaves, too, on Channel 47 Newport News specifically. 8-2 on TV. 3-0 on TV this year. Hurricanes right there. Corey Rouser on the keeper. Looks like it might be enough for a first, and it is. First down, Hurricanes. 9:52 left till halftime. Heritage up 14-0. Glad you're with us live on Channel 47 Newport News and 46 in Hampton.
We talk about Corey Rouser, 6 foot tall, 215. He's a change of pace back, but he's also one of those running backs who likes to go out and hit people. Mike Johnson is one of those guys that likes to avoid the hits. Corey Rouser is one of those guys that wants to hit you before you get hit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And there's Mike Johnson right there on the run. And Johnson stopped right there. Nice defensive stop by number 60, and that is Stephen Lee. Hampton's got a lot of depth on the team, but like you said, they don't have that superstar they've had in the past with Ronald Curry, or go back in the 1980s with Marco Stacy, or even further back in the 1970s. Smith won his first state championship back in 1975. In fact, that 4-year span was probably the best 4-year span up until now of the Peninsula District, when Bethel and Hampton won the state championship, from 70, 74, 75, 76, and 77. And the pass incomplete, intended for Raymond Stith. In 74, Bethel won the state championship. 75, Hampton won it. 76, Bethel won. 77, Hampton won. And Hampton has not missed a regional since 1976, when Bethel last won the state championship.
Right. I mean, last year was the first time the Crabbers were eliminated for the finals in the last 5 years. This shows the sustained excellence that we've seen. And it's not that easy because Bethel has fallen on hard times in recent years.
All right, 3rd and 6. 8:52 left till halftime. Heritage with the ball, with the lead, 14-0. Running from that veer-eye offense right now. Cook handing it off. The fake and throwing to Blackstock, incomplete. Might have fooled a little bit everybody right there, Nate.
That was a very nice play fake right there, the draw play, but unfortunately Blackstock, if it hits you in the hands, you got to bring it in, young man. He wasn't able to do that.
All right, 8:47 left. Heritage in an unfamiliar punting situation here, Nate. Bad snap, and Hampton almost trying to block. And a fumble on the kickoff. Larry Davis gets it, but they're going to call him down. They're going to call him down, yes. Carlos Campbell. You know what, Nate? I'm thinking what I'm looking at right now. Carlos Campbell from Hampton is doing too much. He's a quarterback. He's returning the punts. He's punting, and he's playing defense. Instant replay coming up.
Exactly, Greg. What you're going to see now is a very controversial punt return because we're going to see on the punt there's contact after the punt. That should be roughing the kicker. And then right now we see it's called down when he did not have control of the ball right there. You know, I hate to second guess the refs, but right there that was a blown call.
Absolutely. And the score right now is still 14-0 with 8:37 left. But Heritage gets the football, and Rouser up the middle. Not much running room on the 32-yard line. But right now, Nate, you can't afford Hampton to be down 21-0 going into halftime.
And you mentioned earlier about Carlos Campbell. I think Coach Quillen did a smart thing tonight, limiting Jason Cook to just playing on offense, just playing quarterback so we can concentrate on his job.
It's hard to stay focused,
exactly,
especially at a high-state game like this Eastern Regional Final. There are more people out here than in some cities throughout the state of Virginia. 8 minutes left in quarter number 2. Cook on the option to Michael Johnson. Good defense right there by the Crabbers, led by number 33, Mac Jones.
And I do want to give some credit to our officiating team because they did reverse the call. I want to give them some credit for that.
They did a good job like they have all year long. And this is the Eastern Regional officiating crew led by James Orr, James Duke, Ben Word, Mike Lowenberg. You see John Quillen right there. Quillen is 21-2 at Heritage. He defeated Hampton back in '89 in this very field right there at Todd Stadium. Amazing how Heritage just improved in the last 5 years. 7:30 left here in quarter number 2. Cook throws it, and the pass right there is complete to Wayne Reynolds, who made that big catch.
Wayne Reynolds is becoming a very reliable receiver tonight. He's making some fantastic catches. Jason Cook right now is showing a lot of poise, rolling out to his right. He's got Reynolds locked in, and there it is, the pass. Maybe a little bit low, but Reynolds does a great job at getting down there and making that dive for that catch.
And I think when the quarterback is relaxed, the team is relaxed. And like you mentioned, a great point earlier, Cook is just focused. He's playing one-way offense, and it's really showing tonight. 7 minutes left. Heritage up 14-0. Johnson on the run, and he stopped pretty cold right there by the Crabbers for a good defensive effort by Hampton.
Well, this is a crucial defensive series for Hampton right now. If Heritage scores, that makes it 21, with the field goal, 21-0. And Hampton cannot afford to let themselves be put in that hole.
Mike Smith right there, Clazel Brown on the stop. Mike Smith, head coach of Hampton since 1971, was an assistant to Johnny Palmer. In fact, his last year as an assistant, 1970, they played Newport News and lost 16-6. So he remembers the good times, but he's had a lot more great times over the years, winning 11 state championships. 2nd and 11. Cook throws an outlet to Mike Johnson, and Johnson right there stopped by number 11 for the Hampton Crabbers, and that is Joseph Smith, but they keep on moving.
That was a very, very good play right there, taking advantage of Johnson's speed to the outside, getting him the ball any way he can. And also I was impressed with the way that Cook stood in the pocket with everything that was going on around him.
Quillen, of course, 1-1 in the playoffs. Last year he defeated Northview in the first round 20-0. Got beat by Hampton 44-0. But this time he is off to a good start, defeating Norcom last week 26-14. All over Hampton tonight 14-0 as the crowd watches with 5:40 left in quarter number 2. Greg Bicaveras, Nate Milton, glad you're with us. Cook on the option, complete to Rouser. Not enough for the first down. And we'll see what the Hurricanes do on a 4th down. Instant replay coming up.
Well, good job right there we see by Cook getting the ball to Rouser. Coming in again, he's being pursued. Hampton's coming at him, and he just stays poised in the pocket, makes a nice catch right there. And like I said, Rouser always wants to hit somebody.
And goes out of bounds to even preserve the clock with 5:34 left in quarter number 2. 5:34 left. See the Hampton defense right there in the white and red uniforms. Mike Smith originally, Nate, was going to go to medical school, but he changed that plan pretty quick. Born in Anderson, Indiana. Dad got him involved in football when he was in the 5th grade. And Heritage right there keeping it on the ground. Nice run by the Hurricanes. On Cook, on the keeper. First down.
Good job right there by Jason Cook. And it seems to me, coming into this game, Heritage is always in the position of having to prove itself. You know, they came out, they had the undefeated season, including wins over Hampton and Warwick and Phoebus. And then tonight, it seems that they're still coming in as the underdog. It's like, what more do they have to do to prove that they are one of the top teams in the district, if not in the state? And I think they're making a statement tonight.
They're
number 3 team in the state right now.
3 coaches in 5 years, but they're off to a great start. Cook on the keeper, and Cook gets his 2nd touchdown of the game. 2-yard touchdown run, 20-0. Hampton's in a big hole.
That was crucial. Like I said, you know, these are 2 great teams. Hampton number 6 in the state, Heritage number 3. And Jason Cook is doing a great job right now, right there. Just does a good job of making the extra effort to score that touchdown right there. And Jason Cook has become a leader tonight.
Absolutely. Great job right there by staff and students. 5:10 left. Flags all over the place. Heritage doing a great job so far. Heritage will play the winner, folks, of the Northwest Region matchup between Pulaski and Culpeper. 5:10 left in quarter number 2. They're up 20-0, attempting the extra point. Heritage, Nate, in 96 they were 2-8, 97 they were 4-6, 98 they were 9-1, 99 they were 10-2. And, of course, now they're 11-0, 36-17 in school history. The extra point is up, and it's all good, 21-0.
Heritage having a great season and a great evening tonight. Heritage was ranked number 12 in the state last year. They jumped all the way up to number 3 this year. And whoever comes out of this game tonight, and right now it looks like Heritage, they're going to give Culpeper or Pulaski a run for their money.
And you talk about the strategy that Heritage wanted. Spread the ball out, give it to Mike Johnson. But right now the big player has been the guy we've kept the tight microscope on all year long, Jason Cook. We thought he was vulnerable, Nate, during the year,
right,
but he's shaked that off big time in the playoffs.
Well, I think Coach Quillen pulled a fast one on everybody. You know, he dipped when everybody thought he was going to duck, because everybody coming into this game, all that was talking in the papers on the radio was Mike Johnson. So he came, talked to Jay Cook, realized, you know, this is your time, young man. You got to step and be a leader for us tonight. And Jay Cook has done very well this evening.
I'm kind of wondering, Hampton had some problems getting over there on the yellow school bus. They were stopped on Interstate 64. They didn't get here and pull up until almost near 7 o'clock. I'm wondering if that vulnerability of being in the bus that long has made an effect on their start so far. Regardless, and nevertheless, Heritage is up 21-0 in the 7th meeting between these two schools since 1996. Hampton leads at 4-2, but the bottom line is Heritage is leading it now, on their sake, 21-0. Once again, who's going to return it? The Hampton Crabbers. Nice run right there, and a fumble. And Hampton, luckily, gets the ball in the hands of Clazel Brown.
It just shows you how close this game is. He almost was out there for a touchdown, ended up getting tripped up and fumbled the ball, but was able to recover it by, of course, number 35, Clazel Brown, the sophomore.
Nice helmet right there. Heritage in the scarlet and gray maroon uniforms. Great tower cam shot by Paul Cummings and the staff, Nate.
Well, right there you see it was a great job by the Heritage defense getting down there, but Hampton does a good job of making the wall, forming the wall, and right there you see the fumble, and it was just luck that Clazel was there to recover that, because that would have been the Hurricanes' ball, and that would have been a very tough situation for the Crabbers.
I want to thank our friend also, Scotty Bowers, for helping us get this live in Hampton on Channel 46. Thank you very much. All the great effort that y'all have done all year long. And Hampton right there keeping on the ground, number 11, that is Joe Smith for the Hampton Crabbers. Nate, you look at the way Hampton started off the year, defeated Kempsville 33-0. Got by Denby in a shaky game, 16-zip. led only 2-0 at halftime. Beat Bethel 21-0, beat Menchville 62-0, lost to Heritage 16-7, defeated Warwick 26-14, got by Gloucester 26-13, Kickingham 35-2, Phoebus 27-6, Woodside 69-3, and defeated Lake Taylor 28-12. As an injured players on the sideline right now, while Heritage has just steamrolled opponents like a locomotive, and nobody really expected this Heritage team who lost. You mentioned Foster brought us as the crowd watches on, and you look at the other players Heritage has lost, even from that 98 team that went 9-1. They've lost players like Chris Williams and Antonio Mayfield and Kente Blunt and Eric Sidney. So many great players, but they have just come up strong in the year 2000. John Quillen, though, is a veteran coach.
Exactly. Quillen, a veteran coach, has done a great job with this team, and they've got them ready to play each and every game. As we see the injured player getting to his feet now, looks like he's going to be okay. It's 33, of course, who is Mac Jones Jr. He's able to get off the field under his own power. It's good to see that. Going back to the point you mentioned about the bus, Greg, I know back when I was in school when we played, the coach took that time to get us focused, get us ready to play. And I don't know, the bus incident, it could either have an effect one or two ways. It could make them more focused, more ready to come out, or it could make them just totally lose focus. And from what we've seen early on, it looks like they've been a little unfocused and haven't come out with that same fire.
I think that might have taken a little bit of the fire off them. There was a fire on Interstate 64, and being stuck on the bus after going to school all day might have taken an effect. We'll see. As Hampton right now lines it up under center, Carlos Campbell, the wide receiver, also played at Phoebus a couple of years ago, is the quarterback, played for Bill D there 2 years ago for the Phantoms. Right now he's a true crabber, though. A nice catch right there by Hampton's number 2, and that is Derek Fenner, who also played a kick at 10, Nate.
Right, Derek Fenner also played a kick at 10. You see Hampton lining up with a 2 tight end set right now, and a good job by Carlos Campbell. Throws the ball to where only Derek Fenner can catch it, and Fenner does a great job of pulling it in.
Absolutely. You're watching the biggest live event, and you talk about, Nate, we've talked about this all year long. Some colleges, Division I AA, Division II, Division III, never get to be on TV. Here it is. These kids will tell their children and grandchildren that we were on a live Eastern Regional Final in 2 cities, 2 of the biggest cities in the state of Virginia. Campbell on the option to Smith. Smith gets a good read across the 30, and Stith knocks him down for Heritage, number 20.
It's a nice job right there at the last second by Campbell to get that ball out there, and Smith did a good job of taking advantage of that. So Carlos Campbell, you know, he's been under pressure all night, and right there you see another bump by Rudy Ford, was able to get rid of it the last second, and Smith just uses his speed to get to the outside, and if not for number 20 right there, as you mentioned, Greg, Ray Stith, he would have been gone.
Absolutely. I remember talking about 2 years ago, the game that really put Heritage on the map was right here when they beat Hampton 14-8 under Kurt Newsom in 5 overtimes. Newsom now an assistant with James Madison. Heritage went on to go 9-1 that year but didn't make the playoffs. Hampton won the state championship that year after that loss. Their last of 4 in the decade of the 90s. 2nd and 2, 2:57 left. Campbell, a nice run, gets to about the 23-yard line. Now, one thing Heritage realizes, they're not playing a lower-level team tonight. They are playing a top team in the state, and even though they got a 21-0 lead, it's not a comfortable lead.
Exactly. I think that Heritage, as good as they are, sometimes their offense and maybe even their defense has the potential to play down to their opponent's level. And we saw that in a couple of games, and we even saw a little bit of that when they played Norcom. Norcom was a good team, but they weren't on the same level as Heritage, and Heritage kind of played down to that. They know that Hampton is one of the top teams in the state, and they can't take anything for granted with this tough Crabber squad.
Hampton's 4-2 in our airwaves in Newport News since we've televised them since 1993. 1st and 10 with 2:25 left at the Heritage 23. Hampton running from that I right there. Smith across the 22. Nice stop by number 3, and that is Landon Smith.
That was almost an instant replay of what we saw earlier with Carlos Campbell being under pressure again. Speaking of the instant replay, Campbell under pressure again. At the last second is able to get it to Joe Smith. They got to come up with some other way to get that pressure off of Carlos Campbell. I don't know if you go to a shotgun or a 3-man backfield, but you got to get some pressure off the QB.
And the field holding up pretty well. This is almost like the 13th week of Peninsula District football, now our Eastern Regional Final. Heritage has played 8 of their 10 games here during the regular season. They played the last 2 games right here. The state championship will be played at the University of Richmond. Of course, Heritage is trying to get by this game, and so is Hampton. 2nd and 9 right now for Mike Smith's Crabbers. Here you see Carlos Campbell, number 7, directing the offense. And delay of game on Hampton. Mental mistake, Nate.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about the focus, Greg. Hampton needs to find their focus and their fire and get that back so they can get back into this game. They're down 21-0, correct, but there's still plenty of time left to go in this game.
Talk about the Heritage is just blitz teams this year. Right now, Hampton's got the football. Using that multiple eye offense. 21-0. Heritage leading it. Campbell across the middle. Nice throw, but it was incomplete. And right there pounding the dirt is number 5, James Williams, who'll probably be the starting quarterback next year.
Right there, Williams had it on the tips of his fingers, and number 20, Raymond Stith, did a good job to get in front of him, maybe break his concentration a little bit right there. Stith just diving in at the last possible second because that was going to be a wonderful catch right there by number 5, James Williams.
Tim Sweeney, the principal, of course, at Heritage. Athletic director George Walters, now Fleury, for Hampton, respectively. Dr. James Victory is the principal. Athletic director is Patricia Mitchell and Karen Holland. Not right now, with 2:10 left. Hampton trying to score desperately here before halftime, Nate. 3rd and 14. Campbell throwing it deep across the middle, and it's complete. They're saying it's a complete. Nice catch right there by Derek Fenner.
Under pressure right there. Right there we saw all of the guys coming out right there. We got a flag on the field, though. But right now, Carlos Campbell definitely under pressure right there. 3, 4, 5 maroon jerseys after him. And right there you see what looks to be a catch from Fenner. But the call is against the Crabbers.
Bad break for Hampton. See if we get a shot of Elton Brown, folks, number 66. Walking with his head down right there. There he is right there for the Hampton Crabbers. He played for Heritage a year ago, and this is only his 2nd game playing for Hampton this year. Big-time Division I college prospect, however.
Exactly, and with things like that, with him not playing except for the last week, the thing is not physically, but it's mentally and his conditioning. Can he get into the game that way? Because that's where it's going to tell.
Rustiness is definitely going to play a factor, but right now, Hampton needs to score with 2:03. There is Elton Brown right there, number 66. 6'6", 330 pounds. Going both ways, and they want to utilize his talent to their capability. 1:55 left in quarter number 2. 3rd 19 at the 32. Hampton will probably have to go for it even on 4th down. 2 receivers to the right. 1 person in the backfield. Campbell, the quarterback, in trouble, and he's sacked right there by number 9, Rudy Foy. Bring up a 4th down situation. Crowd's cheering, Nate.
The great job right there. I was looking for the flag for a second to see if they were going to call intentional grounding, but he just got hammered by that 9-1-1 defense. Number 9, Rudy Foy. Number 11, Darryl Blackstock. Just wham right there. Whop. That's what one of my coaches used to call it. That's a whop hit right there because you just don't remember what happens after you get hit like that. And Campbell was very fortunate that they didn't call intentional grounding.
Looked like a tidal wave. Or maybe a great white got him. I tell you, it's
definitely an eye of the hurricane right now.
They caught some great whites, Nate, in Virginia Beach a couple weeks ago. 1:39 left. 4th and 19, just as we figured. Hampton is going for it, trailing it 21-0 with only 1:39 left in quarter number 2. And we'll see what the official call is. Referee James Orr, delay of game on Hampton.
That is a critical penalty right now for the Hampton Crabbers. Heritage right now, they're going to come out in their prevent defense. Hampton has to score right now, so look for a long bomb down the field and expect James Williams to be involved in this play if the Crabbers want to be successful.
4th and 24, bad snap. Carlos Campbell going deep in the end zone. Wobbly pass. And it's intercepted by the Heritage Hurricanes. Huge catch right there by the Hurricanes.
Unbelievable right there. He threw it up. Everyone was going for the ball. Bad snap started everything off on the wrong foot. And then right there, I don't think he gave himself enough time to get set. You see the pass is kind of wobbly right there. Williams, you got everybody up in that play. Michael Johnson. And finally, number 20, Ray Stith comes down with the play, the 5'10", 175-pound junior with a great job right there.
His relatives, Joe Solomon and Dwayne Solomon, played for Ferguson High School, and a lot of the old Ferguson High School zone, of course, are the Heritage players now, so great tradition there in that family. The Solomons now the Stiths. Cook on the keeper runs into a Hampton wall, a brick wall, led by the Hampton Crabbers number 61, and that was Chris Green, respectively.
I think right now what you're going to see is Heritage keep the ball on the ground and, you work it in with Rouser and Johnson and Cook on some options because they don't want to get flashy or flamboyant and risk turning the ball over this close to the end zone. Also, there's only a minute left, so they're going to try to run this clock down and go to the locker room with a 21-0 lead on the Hampton Crabbers.
Hampton, 2 freshmen, 13 sophomores, 20 juniors, 16 seniors. Let's see Mike Johnson right there keeping on the ground. Don't want a turnover, Nate, like you said, with 45 seconds. Domino's Pizza, folks, give them a call. Very nice at 595-3030. Thank you, Domino's.
And imagine if Mike Johnson could break one to the outside and get one of those long runs. We're so used to seeing him right now. Imagine what a weight that would put on the Crabbers if they're not in the hole already. You mentioned Domino's Pizza. It's cold out here, chilly. Give them a call in your nice warm home and watch this exciting action. But Heritage has done a great job on offense and defense here early on in the game.
One thing I want to say about John Quillen is you see him right there in the field. This is true. This is only his second year as head coach at Heritage, but he was also the head coach of Denby back in 88 and 89. In 1989, he beat Hampton on this field. He's also been an assistant at Jeff Davis, at Ferguson, at Warwick, at Hampton University, and even the head coach of the Peninsula Poseidons when then we televised one of their games 7 years ago. So he's got a lot of head coaching experience. His son is a top player for James Madison.
Exactly. Coach Quillen is one of the top coaches in the league, finally starting to get his due as a coach. And, tradition is what it's all about, and Heritage is starting to build that tradition.
Hampton trying to force a turnover, 3rd and 8. They will not get the first down, Heritage. It'll be a 4th down. Hampton trying to call a timeout with 37 seconds. So they're trying to maximize every second to their potential.
Exactly. The thing is, if Hampton can find some way to score before this half ends, then it's not that bad of a situation. But if Hampton goes in on the backside of a 21-0 deficit, then Coach Smith right there, you see him, knows that he's going to have his work cut out for him in the second half.
Mike Smith right there, 11 state championships, 3 runners-up, won 2 in the 70s, 5 in the 80s, 4 in the 90s, won his first one back in 1975. Also USA Today rankings, VHSL Coach of the Year for so many times. Won a state championship back in 97 against William Fleming on 51-8. He credits a lot of his success to his great staff, great preparation. He's told us that on Newport News Sports Highlights and various shows we've talked to him about. And he always seems to find the right balance to complement the superstar. 37 seconds. Heritage punting. Hampton's Carlos Campbell will take it right about the 49-yard line this chilly Friday night. Wobbly punt taken to about right around the 40-yard line, so Hampton will need 60 yards or so to score.
That was a good job right there by the punter, Ian Harris, right there, to let it get down there and wobble because it took time off the clock. And a great job by the special teams right there. And also you mentioned the Crabber staff. You talk about the Hurricane staff, the assistant coaches, Deion Ruffin, Dwight Robinson, Sean Redd, Bernie West, Paul Macklin, Andrew Gregory, and Colin Brinkley are also a part of that Hurricane tradition starting to be built with the great coaching staff that Coach Quillen has put in place.
Absolutely, and athletic trainer Karen Lowe and equipment manager Lloyd Barbecue Hicks, who was at Ferguson as a student. Such a great staff. You need a great staff. What Hampton has done, Heritage is trying to build that in their 5th year. Hurricanes have had 3 coaches in 5 years, but their record has been astronomical. They are 30-2 in the last 3 years, only losing to Hampton twice a year ago. Once was right here in the Eastern Regional Championship, and then at Darling Stadium. Carlos Campbell handing it off to number 11, Joe Smith, and the clock will continue to roll with about 15 seconds and stops right there. So they might have 1 or 2 more plays, Nate.
Hampton has to start looking downfield. We haven't seen a lot of that. We've seen a couple plays thrown towards Fenner's way, and right there we see number 11, Joe Smith. But primarily it's been Joe Smith on the ground. Hampton has not found a way to get Carlos Campbell integrated into the offense as far as a passer, and maybe that's because he's doing too much. He's punting, he's playing defense, he's returning kicks. Maybe Carlos Campbell in the second half needs to concentrate on being a quarterback.
Absolutely. You talk about the last time Newport News schools in the decade of the 90s had that success. In 1990, Warwick under Bill Lyons made the regionals. 1992, Denby made it under Bob Schmidt. 1993, Menchville made it under Tom Jacob. And, of course, in 1999, Heritage made it last year, having an impressive record and losing 2 games. There's Mike Smith, the architect, the legendary Hampton coach, a longtime assistant under Johnny Palmer. Longtime assistant under Johnny Palmer when Palmer was the head coach of Hampton. Right now he finds himself in a hole with 18 seconds, 21-0. Hampton's got the ball. Heritage has got the lead. 4 receivers, 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Bad snap. That's been the moral of the story so far. And Campbell just heaves it, and like a volleyball pitch, it was kicked in the air by Mike Johnson. What a great athlete he is with 8 seconds left till halftime.
Good job right there by Mike Johnson, and also Daryl Blackstock, who started it all off, trailing Carlos Campbell. Carlos Campbell, of course, we see the bad snap again. He's been receiving high snaps what it seems the last 2 times these teams have played. And right there in the pursuit, at the last second, he gets it off. But Mike Johnson with a great jump up right there, looking like Coach Kilraya on the volleyball court, was able to spike that one down.
Hey, we talk about that show Survivor. This is the ultimate survival test tonight. Not only in the cold weather, they're battling the elements, but you lose tonight, you're out. And the winner moves on to the state semifinals.
The tribe will have spoken.
Take on the winner of the Big Pulaski Culpeper game. Culpeper defeated Hampton last year in the state championship. Campbell, one more big pass. Throws it. Incomplete. Intended for Derek Fenner with 2 seconds left. And that the previous play, when Campbell threw the ball and was being pursued by the Hurricanes, it's been almost like the story of the game. Heritage pursuing the ball and getting the most advantage of it.
Exactly. They've got a couple seconds left. Time for another Hail Mary play just like this one. And right there at the last second, he was pushed, and his receiver ended up having to turn into a defender to keep that ball away from the Heritage player to not allow the interception.
The crowd's been kind of quiet, because they're just trying to stay warm. It's cold outside, folks. They're all over the fence, and this is a huge crowd. They got extra bleachers out right by the scoreboard clock facing our staff building. So 4th and 3, 2 seconds. Ironically, Campbell is not going from the shotgun. Campbell runs it, and he's stopped at the 50. Good defense by number 3, Landon Smith. All right, let's go to Josh McGannon.
Hi, this is Josh McGannon reporting live here with Pooh Johnson, director of the Greater Hampton Roads Boys and Girls Club. Pooh, how are you enjoying the game this evening?
Beautiful, lovely game. This was the season. This is getting down to the last game almost, and you can't ask for a better setting than this. This is beautiful.
Yes, and how does your center impact some of the players as they go through high school and to college?
Well, we sort of like the feeder system for the high schools and the college. We send our youngsters to the high schools from junior varsity to varsity, and when our youngsters see this, then they look forward to being where they are. I mean, because those guys are serving as role models to our community center.
All right, thank you, and I hope you enjoy the game.
It's the get-go.
Well, I think it's come down to a matter of who wants it more, who's hungry. Like we said in the opening, Greg, it's a matter of tradition. Heritage wants that tradition. Hampton is trying to hold on to it. If Heritage defeats Hampton tonight, they have cemented that tradition by defeating Hampton twice in the same year and going on to that state playoffs.
Absolutely. It started back with Heritage back in the summer when they scrimmaged Mansman River and Kellum, and of course they lost Eric Sidney from a year ago, and he was a big-time player that you always talked about, Nate, last year, 671 yards. But, boy, they've really made up with it with Michael Johnson and Jason Cook. Hampton on the kick return. Fumble. Heritage gets the football. Great recovery by number 5, Jonathan Gaines. And Mike Smith has got his hands in his pocket. Cannot believe it.
Junior Jonathan Gaines, you see the crowd is going wild. They're revved up. They're waving the woo-woo towels that the Heritage fans have. And it's just unbelievable. Number 5, Jonathan Gaines, the special teamer, comes in. All he does is special teams, but he does it very well right there. Nice kick, and then you see it kind of bumps off of his chest plate. And right there, you see him come in, nice tackles, And right there, coming up with the key play, number 5, Jonathan Gaines. Like I said, all he does is special teams, but he does it very well.
Nice replay right there. And, of course, Derek Fender fumbling the ball. Heritage has got the football. 1st and 10 at the Crabber 38, going left to right on the TV dial. Glad you're with us. Live on Channel 47 in Newport News, 46 in Hampton. And there's Cook, stopped cold by number 12 for the Crabbers, and that is Nolan Cutler, the 4th. Hampton on the year, 2 freshmen, 13 sophomores, 20 juniors, 16 seniors. You see Cook and Johnson, the spearhead of the offense for the Hurricanes, chatting a little bit. 7:21 left in quarter number 3. Glad you're with us for showdown number 2. It is 27-0 in favor of the Hurricanes. Great CG graphics right there by our great staff in the truck. Heritage coming out right now, folks, with that veer offense that John Quillen has used. A lot of his teams have used that. Prior to last year, Quillen's last head coaching job, was with the Peninsula Poseidons. But he's been was an assistant Kickotan prior to taking over at Heritage. And that Kickotan staff came over to Heritage in 1998 when Kurt Newsom came over. Kurt Newsom now, of course, at James Madison. But we saw the brilliance of that 9-1 squad 2 years ago.
Absolutely. The thing you notice with Quillen, even going back to the Poseidons, is his team, no matter how well the offense is done, is they always have a good defense. We see the coach right there. And I mentioned to people going into this game, if Heritage's defense was at their best level tonight, it wouldn't matter what the offense did because Hampton could not score on them.
He's a real gentleman, too, folks. That's even more important. Cook's got plenty of time. The line's doing a great job. There's Robin Lewis blocking for him. And Cook stopped right there about the 33 by number 5. And that is James Williams with the replay coming up.
When we talk about how smart Jason Cook has been playing tonight, we can't, you see the fans right there, we can't do enough to say how much the offensive line has helped him. They've given him plenty of time. You know, Max Barnhart, Maurice Crawley, Sean Atwood, Kellen Mayo, Steven Hines, the rest of the guys on that line right there, Corey Rouser, the fullback, providing excellent blocks and giving them plenty of time to throw the ball.
They say you win the game in the trenches, Nate, and Heritage. We talked about Elton Brown having a big game for Hampton prior, but Heritage's offensive line has done a great job. Watch the offensive line right here, folks. Just watch how they push back the defensive line of Hampton. Look at all that time that Cook has got to throw the ball. Now he's deciding to throw it, and it's complete to Blackstock. And Blackstock is on his feet, pinballing his way to the 10-yard line.
Amazing job right there by Darryl Blackstock. Finally brought down by number 5, James Williams Jr. The thing about it is he had so much time, they created an excellent pocket right there. And then when the defense started to come around and we stepped up in that pocket, right there you see the defense, great protection right there. The defense starting to come around him, just steps up in the pocket, looks out, sees number 11, Darryl Blackstock. How can you miss that big target? Makes a great pass and a great catch by Blackstock, picking up some excellent yardage.
When Blackstock doesn't come through, you got Larry Davis or Corey Rouser or Michael Johnson or Jason Cook, and you need that to win at this Eastern Regional level and the state level too. Glad you're with us. We brought to you an Eastern Regional game a couple years ago between Denby and Western Branch in basketball. This is really exciting tonight. Remember that, Nate? A couple years ago we had Channel 47 did the Denby Western Branch game from Denby. Timmy Smith and company. Of course, basketball season right around the corner. You mentioned rivalry week. Virginia plays NC State tomorrow. Florida plays Florida State. Richmond plays William Mary, but the big one is at 12 o'clock noon. Michigan and Ohio State. Nate, what do you like in that game?
Michigan and Ohio State, well, judging by who I'm sitting next to, I have to go to Ohio State.
But Virginia Tech and Virginia next week. Virginia Tech and UVA. Virginia on a different direction. Tech is on a winning direction. 4-18. 2nd and 11 at the 12, and Hampton needs a turnover badly. They need something. They need some type of spark. They haven't gotten that spark all night long. You see the referee right there, James Orr, wearing number 77, respectively.
And it's almost as if we can't believe what we're watching. All
right, WPNB.com, folks, the internet site of the future right there. The Newport News School System, Channel 47, led by our great staff right there. WPNB.com. They had our football schedule up there, all the links up there. Newport News School, staff, students, ordering tapes, whatever you want. It's WPNB.com. Cook, up the middle, Ooh, nice catch right there. And you can feel the bounce, but a great catch by Wayne Reynolds, Nate. He's a name we've mentioned a lot tonight.
Exactly. I mean, you talk about WPNB.com. Wayne Reynolds' address is www.reliablereceiver.com. Good job right there. Cook again showing the focus on the poise, hitting them right in the numbers. Number 14 right there. Wayne Reynolds with an excellent grab.
3:34 left. Heritage is threatening again. 27-0. Nate, that internet is unbelievable what it's come down to, all the different internet sites, but WPNB.com is really just taking into a new direction. 3rd and 3, 3:15 left, in quarter number 3. The threes are wild, and there's number 1. Rouser, the fullback, bulldozing. That might be the game breaker. 33-0 over Hampton. Let's take a look at those Hampton coaches if we can. Another shot by the Crabbers. They are not too happy right now.
This is unbelievable.
They're stunned. They're stunned.
You mentioned it was kind of quiet around this stadium tonight because of the cold. Also because a lot of the fans can't believe what's going on. Corey Rouser, we talk about second effort. He makes a second, third, and a fourth effort to get in here. Great job right there by Corey Rouser, this 6 foot, 215-pound senior. And you talk about game breaker, that might have been the dagger right there. Heritage has definitely stepped into the driver's seat. We mentioned the last game as we see the kick going off right now.
And kick is up, and it is all good.
We mentioned in the last time these two teams played about passing the torch and how Heritage took the torch. Well, they might have taken the torch in that previous game, and it looks like they're not about to give it back to Hampton tonight.
When was the last time you look back when Hampton was shut out? Of course, there's still 3:11 left in quarter number 3 and 12 minutes left in quarter number 4 as the crowd looks kind of stunned and happy. The Hampton crowd, if you look on their side, is definitely filing out. But it's more of a stun word than anything else.
This is unbelievable. And for our folks watching in Hampton on Channel 46, if you're a Crabber fan, Mike Smith is definitely one of the top coaches in the district, if not the state. And if anybody can pull it off from a coaching standpoint, it's got to be Mike Smith, but it looks pretty tough right now.
Hampton had 4 shutouts of their own this year. Have not been shut out this year at all, and rarely are ever shut out. 3:11 in quarter number 3. Heritage trying to narrow that gap of that 4-3 series mark, but they'll take this one over anyone. This is a rematch of last year's Eastern Regional Final. Ian Harris kicking it. Short kick, taking it around the 20. Right there by the Crabbers. And Hampton's number 22, Alexander Mann. Not much running room, and they just have not been able to get that special hole tonight.
Well, in the pregame, Greg, you talked about, similar games and similar scores. Remember the score from last year as we see the kick right there. And there's a great job right there from the tower cam. And there's the wall forming, but the wall doesn't get there quick enough because Heritage is able to get downfield. But remember last year, as we see the tackle being made, the score was 44-0 on the Hampton Crabbers side. Right now, 34-0 on the Heritage side. We might be seeing history repeat itself once again.
And right now, Heritage continues. They'll be playing next week against Pulaski in the Division 5 championships. We'll try to get to all the games. Other games tonight in Division 5, the Eastern Region, of course, Hampton and Heritage, and Central Region, Hopewell at Dinwiddie. Northern Region, West Potomac versus Langley. In the Northwest Region, Pulaski at Culpeper. Hampton, nowhere. Stopped by number 44 right there for the Hurricanes, Dion Witherspoon, as Mike Smith looks perplexed.
Carlos Campbell did a great job to avoid the sack right there, but there was no running room at all, Greg.
Mike Smith, of course, a legendary coach. A bad year for them is losing in the Eastern Regional Finals. I mean, how bad can that be? And right now, brand new quarterback, the junior, number 5, James Williams, 6'2", 193 pounds, as Campbell could not get it done. And you know that's got to hurt his senior year, Nate.
Exactly, and this also is something telling that Mike Smith realizes the situation that they're in right now, and they've got to make a change. But you wonder if it's too little too late.
He needs 5 scores just to get the lead. That's 5 touchdowns with all converted extra points, if that counts. And Hampton keeping it up the middle. Nice run by number 11 right there. That is Joseph Smith before the Heritage Hurricanes stop him, led by number 88, respectively, and number 44, Dion Witherspoon. I think the big difference, too, is when you talk about Mac Jones, Nate, I can't emphasize that much. He was a big part of that team, 1,000-yard rusher last year, 1,055, and this year coming into the game, Mack only had 227 yards rushing, but Mike Smith is the legend. He's had rivalries against Bethel over the years, and he remembers the Newport News rivalries, and, of course, Quillen starting his own tradition here at Heritage. Brings up a 3rd and 2 with 1:30 left in quarter number 3. Watching a shutout, 34-0. Flags all over the place. In Division 6, Nate, you got Deep Creek taking on Bayside. False start on the Hampton Crabbers. L.C. Bird at Verina, school where Sonny Dirth went to. Centerville taking on Robinson, and in the Northwest region, C.D. Hilton against Potomac. Of course, the state championship at the University of Richmond. Big game also locally, Wayne Marion Richmond tomorrow.
Exactly. That's going to be a great game, as well as some of the others you mentioned, the FSU, Florida State. All those games are very exciting, but we've got one on our hands right now. But Hampton has to make a statement if they want to keep themselves in this game right now, or else, doesn't look good.
So they're trying to score some points right now. 1 minute left in quarter number 3. 3rd and 7. Hampton's got the football in the pretty white and red uniforms. And then the quarterback keeper nowhere for number 5, the junior James Williams. You talk about the tradition Hampton's had. Ronald Curry, quarterback from 94 through 97. Marcus Hagans. Also great quarterbacks like Marco Stacy, Eric Hunter, who went to Purdue, Jimbo Taylor, John Logeman in the early 90s. And of course, the All-American center, Dwight Stevenson, back in the 70s. Or Carl Porter was a first freshman starter for Hampton from 82 to 85. Carlos Ford, Walter Ford, Robert Banks, former Notre Dame player. See a happy Tim Sweeney and Al Fleury looking on. Tim Sweeney in the maroon outfit, the principal. Al Fleury, the AD, athletic director. Oh, yes, cheering tonight. 20 seconds left. A punt by the Crabbers. We'll go to about the 38-yard line. Well, Heritage will have it respectively. Ornate Ahmad Hawkins and Donnie Green are now at Virginia. And Marcos Campbell, the great tight end for Hampton back in the early 80s. Mike Smith has put on a factory of football players. His team is down 34-0, right, but they have nothing to be ashamed of.
Exactly, and a thought that I just had while you were going over some of those great names is the fact that the Newport News realignment, and it's kind of ironic that these two teams are facing each other because, as you mentioned, Heritage is right across the street from Hampton, basically. And a lot of the players that might have thought about going to Hampton or, moving over there to go to Hampton, they realize now that, they can still go to a Newport News school and be a part of the Newport News school tradition. And we're seeing Heritage come up as the first team to really challenge Hampton in a long time.
And the run right there by number 1, Corey Rouser. And that just about ends the third quarter with the score. It is the Heritage Hurricanes leading the Eastern Regional Finals 34-0, 12 minutes away from the state semifinals. And they, ironically, you talk about the state, Heritage won't be the first team to go to the state. Heritage's basketball team last year under Dennis Katufis made the state in basketball, losing to Hayfield. So they're trying to equal the staff of the football team.
I'm really impressed with the entire Heritage program, and what Tim Sweeney has done as the principal of that school, and the athletic directors George Walters and Al Fleury, how they've just I hate to keep going back to it, but you mentioned tradition. They've been building a tradition slowly but surely, and it's amazing in only 5 years where this school and where this program is going.
Nate, they played 12-minute quarters in the Virginia High School League. This is turning into be a blowout like I heard in the truck. Just a huge win for Heritage if they can do it. Domino's Pizza, as you see Mike Smith over there, 595-3030. Thank you, Domino's, all year long for supporting the Newport News Public Schools. Domino's Pizza, 595-3030. Mike Smith is a winner. He'll be back, believe me, folks. If you call a bad year going possibly 10-2, most teams will take that anytime. He has been very gracious to us in the Newport News Schools Channel 47. It's not over, folks. Stay tuned right here in Newport News and Hampton for the final 12 minutes of play. And there won't be no recount after this game, Nate.
Exactly. All votes will be final after tonight's game. And we got a precinct reporting to continue the analogy. Pulaski is up on Culpeper 28-17 right now in the third period.
And that's who Heritage will play if they win. John Quillen, the New Orleans native, getting his day in the sun. And there's the pass right there caught by number 9 right there for Heritage. Touchdown. Rudolph Boyd, 40-0. And the stands and the fans and the coaches are going wild. They're doing somersaults in the press box.
The Heritage fans are going wild. The Hampton fans are going home. I can't believe Rudy Ford. We talk about how great he is on defense, part of that 9-1-1 package with Daryl Blackstock. plays part-time tight end, but he just made an amazing catch. 6'5", 225. The senior did a great job. Nice play fake right there to Mike Johnson. And good read right there, throwing off his back foot with a little wobbly pass, and a good job by number 9, Rudy Ford, to get under it. And I didn't know he had that much speed.
Even the broken plays are working for Heritage. 40-0, folks. 40-0. The kick is up by Ian Harris, and it is good. There's no question here. With 11:48, it is the Hurricanes 41, Hampton nothing. Last year, now they need 3 more points to equal last year's score of 44-0, in which Hampton won. They're definitely probably remember that as well, Nate.
Exactly. What we're seeing right now is Coach Quillen's plan coming to fruition. You know, a lot of people had written these guys off. A lot of people had written Heritage off. You know, their win against Hampton was a fluke. They tried to treat these guys like they were nothing, like they were, you know, something less than the team that they were. And they've come out tonight and basically made a statement. You had us buried. You had us dead and gone. We came back like Rasputin. Coach Mike Smith, you had a great season, but tonight it's our night, and that's the statement Heritage is making.
And Mike Smith's a gentleman, folks. He has been in the rivalries. Back in 1984, he took on Bethel twice during the year. Bethel beat him the first time. He got him the second time. And you're talking to a man who's won 11 state championships, 3 runner-ups, and you're talking 24 straight years in the regionals, the all-time greatest coach in Virginia. And Heritage is just trying to get to that level. They are step by step, month by month, year by year, link by link. And they're winning it 41-0. It's been all Heritage this ball game. And there's the kick. Taken right there at the 20-yard line by the Crabbers, number 22. And nice kick return by Hampton, and that was number 22, Alexander Mann. Nice kick return for the Crabbers.
Alex Mann right there showing they still have that fighting spirit in them. Right now it's kind of like that, you know, we use the boxing analogy. Nice kick, though, by Ian Harris. And Mann's going to get it and take a nice little seam up the sidelines. Lets it bounce to him. Gets that seam right there. Does a good job accelerating. But we mentioned the boxing analogy. Hampton right now is like that fighter who's a game fighter, but has been knocked down a couple times, and, you know, it's wondering when is it time to call it quits. But knowing the heart and the soul of Coach Smith's team, Hampton's not going to quit.
Some years Hampton reloads. This year it's more like a rebuilding team, you would say. But they're trailing at 41-0, 11:40. Hampton's got the football. Campbell back in the ball game, and almost intercepted by number 20, Raymond Stith. Everybody's trying to get a piece of the action tonight, Nate.
I was so close to being picked off by Raymond Stith, who did a good job of anticipating the passing lane and going in there and taking it away almost. But Campbell is back in, so it's going to be interesting to see what his state of mind is after being pulled the last series.
The last time Hampton lost in the regionals was way back in Ronald Curry's freshman year. Lost 48-42. But this has not been an explosive Hampton team like they've had in years past, but still good enough to shut out a lot of teams. They do average 31 points a game on offense, giving up 6 on defense. The Crabbers right now trailing it in the fourth quarter. Hampton on that multiply offense. Heritage countering that 4-4 defense. Hampton in white and red uniforms. Glad you're with us on channel 47-46. The Crabbers just keeping it on the ground. Mac Jones on the run, stopped by Rudolph Boy, who made the last touchdown, Nate.
Right there you see Mac Jones coming back in, trying to get something established on the ground because the air game hasn't been working all evening for the Crabbers. And it's just a matter of, you know, the breaks haven't fallen their way. But also, I think what we talked about earlier with Elton Brown, you know, he's a great player. He's going to have a good career in college. Unfortunately, he was just not in condition, not focused, not in shape, ready tonight for this grueling game.
Tim Swinney's down there holding the Heritage flag right there on the track, right there on the Heritage side. 10:50 left. Hampton's got the football. Going left to right, Carlos Campbell. Sacked again. He can't even find daylight, like being in a tunnel without an ending.
That was a great job. Somebody called 911 once again. Rudy Ford, Daryl Blackstock getting the assist with Carl Martin on there, and they just all converged, talking about meet me at the quarterback, and that's what they did. A great job by the Heritage defense.
Maximilian Barnhart. Heritage, during the playoffs, has averaged 15 points a game on offense, giving up 15 on defense. 10 minutes left in quarter number 4. 41-0. I want to thank all the Daily Press people for helping us promote the game throughout the week. Marty O'Brien and Sonny Dirth, they always do a great job.
Exactly.
Great stories during the week. And there's a nice roll right there by the punt, and with 9:50 left, it's just a matter of time. Now, the last time they played here on September 30th, it was tough getting out of here, but now the Hampton size, only the faithful are staying right there.
Exactly. Only a couple of guys out there wearing their red and black, diehards to the end. But, you got to congratulate Hampton on a great season. They've done a great job.
See the trophy.
There. It's trophy, the Eastern Regional Trophy. And there's a great fan right there holding up the trophies. But unlike our president, we're pretty sure who is going to be the leader of this game this evening.
They're all coming out of the woods tonight, folks. 9:49 left.
Yes,
41-0. And Heritage just, Corey Rouser right there, just Powell driving to the 25-yard line. So the Hurricanes going to try to make it 12-0. Unbelievable, folks. You talk about them since 1998. They are the team of the future. 98, they were 9-1 last year. They were a total of 10-2. And this year they're going to definitely move up to 12-0. Even their second year of existence, they were 4-6. The first year they went 2-8. Doing a great job, going to go 9-2 on television since we've covered. And Cook just hands it off to Michael Johnson. Still the starters in there for the Hurricanes. You would think at this point, maybe with a comfortable almost 7-touchdown lead, you would let them rest a little bit for next week and avoid any injuries. That's something Heritage has avoided all year long, is the injuries.
Right, they've been very fortunate to avoid the injuries, and they've just done a great job. I mean, the first undefeated regular season by any Newport News school since the Peninsula District was founded, and also the first non-Hampton Crabber team to go undefeated since Bethel back in '91. A great job and a great season by Coach Quillen and the entire staff of the Heritage Hurricanes.
I think at this point, Heritage is trying to outdo their own record, 58 offensive plays they did against Hampton back on September 30th. That's right there, number 3, running it, Landon Smith. Once again, Heritage is a fairly young team. 2 sophomores, 19 juniors will come back. They do lose 20 seniors, but right now they're only focused on the remaining 8:20 left in this game and the state semifinals next weekend, the possible state championship at the University of Richmond in 2 weeks in the Division V rankings.
It's amazing. Imagine
Tower
how
cam
far
shot.
we've come. If you see the band right there, if you had told anybody 5 years ago that this new school would go undefeated, beat the Hampton Crabbers twice, and advance to the state playoffs, they would have said you were crazy, Greg.
Right there, up the middle with 8 minutes left. Cook with the keeper. Cook's had a great game tonight, and he has definitely gone to another level. Well, critics were somewhat against him, even us, we were skeptical of him throughout the year because some of his plays. He's really done well tonight.
Exactly. I mean, even at practice, Jason Cook was like, hey, what are you calling me inexperienced for, Greg? But he has just definitely stepped into the role tonight, live here on Channel 46 and 47 in both cities, showing everybody why this Heritage team is definitely one of the teams to look out for that state title.
The game of the peninsula. And there's the punt right there by Wayne Reynolds. And right there taking it is number 11 for the Crabbers, and he's slinged back like a slingshot, number 11, Joseph Smith. And 7:23 left. I remember the old rivalries that you see the instant replay coming up that Charlie Nuttycombe had when he was the coach of Newport News High School against Johnny Palmer. He was an assistant with him, and it's a good example. Hampton could get nothing moving tonight, Nate. Great stop by Larry Davis.
Not the longest punt, but it was up high enough and had enough leg under it so that Larry Davis could get there and make that stop on Joe Smith.
And there's been 2 of the big stars. Jason Cook, his confidence has to rise and peak at a great time. And right there, number 2, Michael Johnson, the junior.
Beautiful shot right there by our camera crew here, showing the 2 stars of the game. And Jason Cook, like you mentioned, has taken his game to the next level.
Campbell, the option to number 11 right there for the Crabbers. Joe Smith, who had 470 yards rushing prior to this game. What a great job our staff has done all year long, Nate, and our staff and our students. Our great reporters, Mark Haynes and Josh Mangana as well, the sideline reporter, Sean Cooper, and all the great people in the truck like Mary Fish and all the great staff doing a great job all year long. The student camera operators, Paul Cummings, Ray Price, Bill Barlow, all the great staff, Greg Swan. and our newcomer Dave Underwood as well. 6:50 left in quarter number 4. And of course, Dave's a big Michigan fan as Michigan takes on Ohio State tomorrow. We'll see what happens in that game.
Hope you two be still speaking after tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. It's a fun rivalry. Hey, the biggest rivalry now with Ohio State, I think, is Penn State. They want to beat Penn State just as bad. 6:35 left in quarter number 4. 2nd and 5 for Hampton at the Heritage 39. Hampton has not scored a point if you're just joining us yet. There's no typo on the screen. It's 41-0. Heritage averaged 43 points a game on offense, has only given up 5 on defense. They have shut out 6 opponents this year. As you see, the architect, the very nonchalant John Quillen, has put up with a lot of personal tragedies himself over the last decade or so. He's just kept it personal. 3rd and 2 at the 36-yard line. And then you see Mike Smith, who keeps on winning year after year after year after year. The last time his team did not make the postseason was when there was no Division V or Division VI back in the bicentennial year of 1976. 3rd and 2. Hampton's got the football and trailing it. The crowd still on hand tonight with a flag on the play.
Looks like another delayed game for the audible right there by Campbell. And you mentioned Coach Quillen. One of the things I like about Coach Quillen is how solid he is, and he never lets you know what he's thinking, whether the team's up by 20 or down by 20. You know, and I played for Coach Jacobs back in Mitchell. The Hampton side is like a ghost town up there. Everybody's going back into the woods or back to their homes or wherever. But they have nothing to hang their heads about. Hampton had a great season, and unfortunately they ran into Heritage at the wrong time when Heritage was peaking. But again, on Coach Quillen, I played for Coach Tom Jacob, who was a great coach. But if Coach Jacob was upset on a call, you would know about it. With Coach Quillen, you never hear a word. Coach Quillen keeps everything internal, and his team is focused and solid as a rock. Right
There's
there,
Paul Macklin right there, the older brother of David Macklin. Of course, David Macklin played for Menchville. You talk about that 93 team that went to the regionals.
Now plays for the Indianapolis coach, doing good things up there.
And played for that great Penn State team a year ago. Campbell in the option. One thing about Heritage, they've been focused, Nate. Yes, they had a little thing in the newspaper this morning about 'twas the night before Hampton that their staff put together, but also they had no pep rallies, no bonfires. They really kept this a low-key week. Yes, we're playing Hampton. Yes, we're playing in the Eastern Regional Final, but we still have focus 3 games ahead. Now it's down to 2 because they are going to go to the state the first time since Warwick did it a decade ago.
Exactly. I mean, if you focus on the Hampton game as your title, that's as far as your team will get, because after you beat Hampton, you've lost your focus. But Coach Quillen and the rest of the staff have done a good job of letting everybody know this is the same as any other game. Doesn't matter who we play, because we still got to beat him to get to the next level.
And I'm sure John Quillen would like to mention this is a credit to all the staffs he's been on. He worked under Thad Madden, of course. He was the head coach at Denby, and you see Campbell right there getting stopped on the play. He really paid his dues. Was an assistant at Ferguson under Harlan Hott. He was an assistant at Hampton University and also the head coach of the Peninsula Poseidons. He has paid his dues. He deserves his moment in the sun, John Quillen does.
And I just talking to him in the interviews in the last couple of years that I've known Coach Quillen, he is one of the most intellectual coaches that you will ever find. You know, he has everything planned down to the last detail, and his team follows his word exactly, and that's part of the success that you're seeing this year with Heritage.
The Elton Brown factor was no factor at all tonight. Hampton just could not get nothing moving, and their defense could not sustain Heritage's multifaceted offense. That, to me, is the storyline of the game, man. As the run right there by number 11, Joe Smith, goes nowhere.
Zach, I had a feeling coming into tonight's game that Heritage would make a statement as we see the man there. But if you had told me before the game it would be 41-0 with only 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, I would have told you to go home, because Hampton is not the kind of team to give up 41 points unanswered. But it has happened tonight, folks, and that stingy Heritage defense is part of the key to that, and also the focus play of Jay Cook is the other part of that. And if they can keep this going, I don't really see anything standing between them and a ticket to the state finals.
2:50 left. 2nd and 6. Hampton trying to get some points on, and right there going to about the 25-yard line is Joe Smith. Hampton has made 17 regional finals in the last 30 years. Heritage, of course, their 2nd district title coming respectively this year. And they were kind of like snake bit 2 years ago, Nate. They went 9-1, but had no postseason berth to go.
Right, and then a lot of the guys that are still around from that team are still talking about that to this day, how they felt that they were kind of robbed by the seating committee, and they wanted to make up for that not only last year but this year. And, Hampton, we talked earlier in the game about Heritage playing for tradition. Hampton right now, even though it's 41-0, is playing for pride. They want to get a score on the board.
Great point. 41-0, 2:10 left, 3rd and 1. Hampton's got the ball at the Hurricane 25. Jones trying to get some type of daylight. Rudolph Foy is saying he didn't make it. We'll see the official count.
Are they going to have a recount on that?
A couple other key players for Heritage. Dwayne Burnett, 5'10", 220-pound offensive guard, and Stephen Hines. I think the big thing is Ian Harris has really come through in those extra points, too. It's been really a total team effort like we do in the production truck, they do in the field.
Exactly, and everything has come together for Heritage at this moment, and they have every right to have the fans up right now on the sidelines. I don't know if you can see it, but the players are dancing on the sidelines because Heritage is going to the state playoffs.
And you're watching it live on Channel 47 in Newport News and 46 in Hampton. Rivalry. This is a huge rivalry. The rivalry of the 60s and the 70s, Newport News and Hampton. The rivalries of the 80s and the early 90s, up until Bethel won the state championship in 92, was obviously Bethel and Hampton, even in the 70s. And the rivalry in the late 90s, in the 21st century, it's right here, folks, on your living room. Hampton and Heritage, the two class programs in the 21st century. But also Warwick had a great year at Newport News. They went 8-2 on Tommy Brady. Let's don't discount it. And they had their quarterback coming back next year, Marcus.
Like Warwick kind of felt in the same boat that Heritage felt 2 years ago when they had a similar record to a team that got in IC Northam, but they were unable to get that last spot. So Warwick is definitely a team to look out for. The people watching in Hampton, don't worry. James Williams is a very capable player. He's going to be leading this team next year. Coach Smith always comes up with some things. And Heritage, again, next year is going to be a great year, but this year is not over yet.
Absolutely. Coming into the ball game in the 3 previous regional games, you see the nice crowd shot right there. Heritage averaged 15 points on offense, 15 on defense, and last week they really struggled to get by Norcom. They were trailing and won it 26-14 on the behalf of Michael Johnson's powerful legs. Nice pass in the corner, incomplete. Pass right there intended for Hampton's white pretty uniforms right there. Incomplete pass intended for number 5, and that was Jimmy Williams, probably the incumbent quarterback for next year. Hey, how about the Washington Redskins right now? They're 6-5. What do you think about Norv Turner in his future? We talked to Warner Hessler, who's covering the game tonight.
We had a good conversation with Warner. I think that if the Washington Redskins do not get to the Super Bowl, Norv is going to be looking for another job.
WPNB.com, folks. Access us on the internet. 41-0. Glad you're with us for our 6th live football game of the year in 2000. There's Elton Brown right there, number 66. That's definitely a Division I college prospect.
Last game of his high school career.
Oh, yes. A 2-game career for his senior year, that was, against his former team. I'm sure he'll be cheering on Heritage regardless.
Yeah.
Campbell stopped by Rudy. Boy, Rudy wants us to say, look, he's the defensive player of the game. Instant replay coming up. As a Newport News crowd is ecstatic. This is the best thing that's happened to Newport News football ever.
Exactly. I mean,
ever.
When I was in '93, when Mitchfield was going through that great period, I was on the JV team. I thought that was exciting. This is nothing compared to this evening and what Heritage is going through. You talk about the 9-1-1 defense, Blackstock and Rudy Ford, but also right now Corey Razzle wants to get into the act. Let's add another one to there, and we see the trophy that's going to be presented to Heritage in just a few minutes.
And that gentleman right there, he holds the trophy. We see him everywhere. He's such a nice guy. A lot of times he volunteers to do when there's a traffic stop. He'll help direct traffic. Just a nice overall citizen, that gentleman is right there. There he is, holding the Eastern Regional Trophy.
Yes.
The final 30 seconds. Who let the dogs out? Little Bow Wow Nate.
Unbelievable.
You hear it right now. Campbell, spiral, block. Hampton is denied a point. He's the Eastern Regional Final. Hampton won 44-0 a year ago. Heritage up 41-0.
The last shot for Hampton is going up, but now we see the replay. See right there, number 7, doing a good job. Larry Davis blocking out orders to the defense. He's got pressure on him once again, Carlos Campbell, but he's able to get the pass off. But that defense back there is so very tough. Heritage does a great job of getting to it. Hampton has one last shot to score. And we see the Heritage fans going crazy in here tonight.
4th and 16. Hampton's got the ball. The Heritage 26 hits left in the fourth quarter. It's been called. Heritage flags all over the place. Campbell in the end zone. Intercepted and dropped. Incomplete. Good coverage by Gary Stevens. You see the Heritage flag all over the place. 20 seconds left. Penalty flags. Nate's been a fun year. This year, penalty on the Crabbers. It's been a rough night for Mike Smith. They can put this game aside and look forward to the 2001 season.
Exactly. They've got nothing to hang their heads about. They'll be back next year. But if you're a Heritage Hurricane fan, grab your woo-woo towel, have some fun tonight because your team is going to the state playoffs.
And they only have 20 seconds left. One thing, too, excellent sportsmanship by both schools. Big rivalry tonight. They've already played each other once. Their 7th meeting since 1996. And what a great sportsmanship. We see Mike Smith right there being consoled by a fan right there. Nothing to be ashamed of. Nobody will ever win 11 state championships, it's likely. Probably this century or even the next, Nate.
Absolutely not. Smith is a legend in Virginia, but there's always that one person that comes up to challenge him. Like you mentioned earlier, Bethel did it in the 70s and the 80s and into the 90s. Heritage has stepped up and done a great thing now, and Heritage is moving on to the playoffs.
20 seconds left, 41-0. Heritage will move to the state semifinals. Well, they'll probably be taking on Pulaski, who got by Culpeper, I think, right now. And of course, Culpeper won the state championship. Hampton had a little incentive. They wanted to get by Heritage tonight, but also wanted to take on Culpeper in the semifinals. They were denied both. Access denied. The computer crashed for Hampton tonight. 20 seconds left. Heritage in the maroon and gray, looking to extend their season into 13 games. And they are.
It's unbelievable. 13-0. Heritage has barely given up 50 points in this in their entire season. The only rough snag they've had all year basically has been last week against IC Norcom, and they came back, did a great job against Hampton tonight.
We'll have post-game, the 5th quarter coming up for you, post-game analysis and highlights. So stay tuned for the post-game show with Mark Haynes and company, Greg Dick Barris, and Nate Milton. And right there hanging is Jason Cook, and he is definitely on the right path with 13 seconds. And that is it. It's a final. Heritage will move on to the state semifinals. And you heard the historic call right here on Channel 47. 41-0 over the defending 5-time Eastern Regional champion, Hampton Crabbers. Great sportsmanship, though, folks. You see Mike Smith right there, 11-time state champion winner.
First person Smith goes for is Coach Quillen. Congratulate him and tell him he had a great game tonight.
They're very fond of each other, of course. Quillen has given a lot of interviews we've done with them, and a lot of support. Told them we're trying to get to that level. And it's been all Heritage tonight. They move on. Hey, you talk about how many points they gave up. Only 62 points in a total of 12 games.
Amazing. We're having fans rush the field now. Let's hope for the sake of Todd Stadium that they leave the goalpost alone. But this is a great evening for Newport News High School football. You're seeing it live on Channel 47 and on Channel 46 in Hampton. This is a passing of the torch, if you will. Heritage is going on to face most likely Pulaski, unless Culpeper can come back. But Pulaski had better come with a game face on because Heritage is a team to be reckoned with.
They like to play on TV. 9-2 on our airwaves. Hampton is 4-3 on our airwaves. You know, you talked about the rivalry. You look at it, too. Mike Smith's got a winning record over just about everybody, but not against John Quillen. He's 3-3 against Quillen. Quillen got 1 win 11 years ago when he was at Denby, and 2, of course, this year. Let's take a look at some of the scores from our production staff. The fans are going wild.
Early on, Greg, we knew that it was going to come down to who could control the tempo. And right there, straight up the middle, was Michael Johnson.
That was Michael Johnson right there, the first score of the game. Of course, 41-0. You see Mike Smith there. Next score coming up. My great highlight staff. We're watching the 5th quarter now, folks. And Cook right there, Nate, on the keeper, that second effort.
At the second effort right there, made it 13-0. Great job by Jason Cook showing it all to the fans tonight. Did a great job making a name for himself.
Hampton, of course, drops down to a total of 10-2 overall. And there's Cook again, 20-0, all Heritage.
Unbelievable. You're watching it on the 5th quarter post-game show right now. We're seeing these highlights, and also, you got to take your hat off to Hampton, as you mentioned. They'll finish up 10-2, most likely staying in the top 10 for the final season ranking.
There's Elton Brown shaking the hands of his fellow teammates right there. Of course, the next score coming up, there's Michael Johnson up the middle, Nate. Not even touched.
The thing that happened tonight was Hampton came in expecting Johnson to go to the outside. Johnson didn't. He went up the middle, and Jay Cook stayed focused and poised, and they just took advantage of that all night long, 41-0 because of that.
All right, take a look at the next touchdown coming up. A recap right there. Here it is. Cook back to pass. Nate, he was the offensive star of the game.
Oh, most definitely. Jason Cook was the offensive star as well as the academic star, because he did his homework this week getting ready for this game, and he stayed focused, and he did a great job.
Good catch by Wayne Reynolds. You talk about Wayne Reynolds and Rudolph Foy really came up big. You haven't heard a whole lot about them this year, but they really came up big tonight. The fans from Newport News really just happy about this win. Next opportunity here for the Hurricanes.
And you mentioned Rudolph Foy. That was the little play action right there. And Rudolph Foy, the big man who usually plays on defense, 6'3", 215. Does a great job to get under the ball. And then you think being that big, somebody could catch him. But Rudy turned on the extra speed and was able to get down there for the touchdown.
He was focused, and he didn't hear any footsteps. Still made a turnaround catch and got a touchdown. 41-zip. What great highlights. And that was a big part of our pregame show all year long, watching those highlights too. And I want to thank our great staff in the truck for doing that, and all our great students. It's been a great 2000 year. And trying to Heritage Hurricanes, 2000 Eastern Regional Champs. That sounds great. What even sounds better is they're going to the state.
Big plays, you draw the ball down the field, you have block control, you just had complete domination.
Hello, this is Mark Haynes reporting for Channel 47, here with Jason Cook, star quarterback, and now Eastern Region champion. How's it feel?
It feels great. We came out, worked hard all year, played for it, you know what I'm saying? We did what we had to do. Came out here, got the victory, moving on.
All right, and how do you feel your matchup in your games to win state?
Run it again? Say it again?
How do you feel your matchup against the teams that you have to face coming up for state championship?
Well, we know all the teams coming up, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna get no easier. We go in, take every week the same, work hard just the same, you know what I'm saying? Every game just gonna be like clockwork, working hard, playing hard, we're gonna win hard.
All right, good luck to you.
Thanks, sir.
And back to you, Greg.
All right, thanks a lot, Mark Haynes, a junior at Heritage High School, doing a nice job right there, interviewing Jason Cook. The senior quarterback. Was a battle of quarterbacks, Cook and Campbell, and definitely Cook had the winning edge tonight.
Exactly, and Carlos Campbell, you kind of have to feel sorry for the youngster out there. I mean, he was doing everything he could for this team, punting, returning, playing defense, playing offense. He was doing everything he could to try to get this team a win, but in the end, it was just all Heritage. You see Hampton, nothing to hang their heads about. They're going to finish up 10-2, finish in the top 10 in the VHSL state rankings, but you got to give the credit to Heritage. They came out, knew what they wanted to do on offense and defense, and they did it. They dominated on both sides of the ball.
They came out focused from the get-go. Hampton does have 35 of 51 players coming back for 2001. And of course, Heritage, of course, outstanding. Of course, the series now 4-3 in favor of Hampton, but Heritage comes up with the two big wins this year like Hampton did a year ago. Great effort, too, technological effort, Nate. The only place you saw it live was right here on TV in Newport News and Channel 47, the home of live TV, and also our good friends in Hampton on Channel 46.
Exactly. For a historic game, we had to come out with some historic coverage, Greg, and it was just a great effort tonight by the people in the truck and also, the people over in Hampton, and we brought this wonderful game to the people. But like I said,
I want to thank other people over at Hampton as well. Of course, Scotty Bowers, his great staff, and of course, all the great people over there for helping make this telecast possible. You see Mike Smith right there is nothing to be ashamed of. Of course, 11 state championships he's won, 3 runner-ups right there. Gets the runner-up trophy right there for the Hampton Crabbers. Of course, he will be back, believe me, folks. 30 years of excellence at Hampton. Also, in Newport News, our great staff, too, led by Paul Cummings and Ray Price and Dave Underwood, Bill Barlow, and Greg Swan. What a great job they've done all year with the connection with the students that are in the junior and seniors in the telecommunications program Monday through Friday during the week. They work long hours, they work nights, they work weekends, but they get it done. They all come together for this great cause of bringing to you live, not only high school sporting events, but live school board meetings as well, Nate.
It's absolutely just a great job, great teamwork, great effort. And we see Coach Quiller right there holding up the big trophy for the Eastern Regional Championship, and just being up here in the booth thinking, Greg, thinking about Hampton and the history they've had. I remember even back to my days when I was playing, and even before that when I was growing up, just thinking about Hampton and Darling Stadium. They got the big iron bars on the stadium, just an imposing sight. Heritage is the first team to come out and play tough against Hampton, and they did it.
Let's go to Mark Haynes.
This is Mark Haynes reporting for Channel 47, here with Principal Sweeney, principal of Heritage High School. Mr. Sweeney, how do you feel? Are you proud of your athletes?
I am so proud of them and the coaching staff and what they did and what they accomplished tonight. Beating Hampton twice in 1 year, let alone shutting down a Hampton football team. That's just simply spectacular. I'm so very proud of them.
And what do you think this says for Newport News athletics?
Well, I tell you what, we've come a long way. Our school, and we represent the whole school district, Newport News, the city of Newport News. This is for everybody out there. And the other thing I want to let them know is that our kids play like champions, and they represented the school district, Heritage High School, and everybody in this city like champions tonight.
Well, thank you. I know you're very proud of them.
Thanks a lot.
And back to you, Greg.
All right, Mark, thanks a lot. Nate, thanks again for a great job
All
tonight.
right.
And once again, the final score, the Heritage Hurricanes moving on to the state semifinals where they win it 41-0. And thanks a lot for watching our historic broadcast. I'm Greg Picaveras. We'll talk to you soon.